The Sony FX3, FX30, and K3M, as well as a few others, have a common flaw. They come with this Sony mic mount, which looks cool and is pretty low profile, but it has a few issues. First, it doesn't fit a standard mic. You can actually just slide this right over a regular mic and it would just fall out. So you have to either use Sony's mic or get little rubber adapters or wrap gaff tape around your mic to make it fit, which isn't really that big of a deal. But the other problem is it's not very well made and it kind of rattles a little bit and it has a lot of handling noise. Plus you have to watch out for obstacles on set. Say there's a door jam or some light stand in your way. You could actually damage the audio module because this is hard mounted to the camera and it can break off. FX6 users can relate to this pretty heavily. And finally, while it's not really this mount, if you decide to use a different mount on your Sony camera and locate it, say in our cage or in some other part of the camera, it ends up being really tall, and not just tall like what we have right here, but even taller than that because you have to add the bolts or cold shoe mount or whatever it is on the bottom to attach it to your camera. So that's why we designed the step mount, which is specifically made for the FX3, FX30, their audio handles, or the K3M. We have a version of this coming for the FX6 as well, and parts of this could actually work on different cameras. And look, just because we found these issues with Sony mounts doesn't mean that you will as well. And I'm sure if you haven't, you'll tell us about it in the comments. So you may not necessarily need this, but if you've been looking for a different solution, this is our take on it. So the step mount is actually meant to replace the Sony mic mount. The first thing we'll need to do is get rid of this little mount, which I'm just gonna say it is kind of awful and noisy and just not the best. So to take this off, all you have to do is open it up and take out 2 Phillips head screws. After we have the Sony mic mount off, we have just 2 holes here and then some little tabs, which we've actually got a piece that is made to go in place of that. So the first thing we want to do is grab the base, which is this little piece right here, and put it on top of the audio module. It'll just drop right in the top, and then we will use our screws, which are a little bit longer than Sony's, so you just have a little more reach. You also want to use a washer on those too, if you can see that. Tighten up, I believe it's a 2mm Allen wrench is what you need to use for this. We ship these out with a 1/4-20 nut actually pressed into this, so right up inside of here. You want to make sure that is in there. If it's not, you can just press one in. We do include extras in the bag. Next, we need to assemble the step mount itself. So that's this piece right here. And the reason we call it a step mount is because it has little stairs that go up and down, and it allows you to change the angle of your microphone based on where you put the isolators. You need to get these isolators separately or dig them out if you have some. We actually had a bunch of these laying around, so it was easy for us, but fair warning, you do need to get these separate. We'll leave some links where you can pick them up. These come off with the same size Allen wrench, and they just pop right off. And then they can thread directly into the step mount itself. You don't actually need to thread this out or put any nut or anything on here. If you just press kind of hard and run the screws in, they will actually thread directly into this TPU material, and it's surprisingly durable. Now, we do include some longer screws just in case you're worried that it's gonna be, you know, a crazy shoot and you're gonna be banging the mic into all kinds of stuff and you don't want these to pull out, but they are really durable like this. But the longer screws can actually have a nut on the back side just in case you want that extra durability. But for most cases, you won't need it. You do want to be careful not to over tighten them. Once they actually are down flush, that's as tight as they need to be. So now you actually have the step mount itself assembled with your Rode mic isolators, and then it just simply bolts into the top. So we drop in the little included screw. It's nice and snug. You really don't have to overdo that either, and that's basically it. So something else that's included with this kit is this little mount right here. This little guy is actually designed to mount on the side of the FX3. I'm actually not sure on the FX30, but I know it will work on the FX3. I'll leave a comment below if I find out for sure on the FX30. But it gives you an extra little mounting location right here on the camera. And if you want to use that, let's take this mic off here. You can attach it using the longer screw we include with the kit so that you can have your mic down here on the side. This is something you would do if you're not going to use the XLR module itself and you just want to have a mic on your camera on the side, but still want to have room to do things like mount a monitor or any other accessories on top of your camera. So in this case, we now have the mic over here out of the way, and that keeps the whole top of your camera clean for anything you want to use up front. The same setup will also allow you to move the mic to the other side if you don't want to use the side mount. So you can just take this directly off of here and then go straight into the cage using the shorter screw again, and go right into the FX3, FX30, or any camera that has a 1/4-20 mount or cage that has a 1/4-20 mount on it. And you can also put the microphone right here on this side. So the kit is pretty versatile and it's designed to kind of be used in different ways. If you guys have any other ideas, definitely let us know what you think or what we should do different on the next set. One last thing, the base that we actually put onto the audio module itself is a 1/4-20 thread. So that means you could use just this to mount other accessories on the audio module. But be careful, this audio module is not very strong by itself. That's why we actually designed the audio cage to stiffen it up and to give you other mounting options. And this is only held on with two 2.5mm bolts. So there isn't a lot of durability here. So anything you mount needs to be pretty basic, like say a wireless mic receiver or something like that. I would not ever mount a monitor directly on this part, even with our cage. That's what the cage is for, or different parts of the camera are for. If you're interested in this cage, we actually made a video about that a while back, which you can check out here. And in that video, we show how we repaired our cage because it actually got busted in a flight. I'll put links to the step mount and the audio cage in the description if you guys want to check those out. And be sure to leave any comments if you guys have any opinions or thoughts about these designs, maybe something we could do next, because we're always trying to figure out different ways to modify and make our cameras better. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.